Awesome. Seeing a quorum of councilors in attendance, I'll call this meeting to order. We'll start with attendance with Irby.
Irby Paul present.
Matthew Rathman present.
Stephanie Toledo present. Maria Garcia present.
Ty Childress present.
And Allison present.
Rowan East present.
Emma Fox present.
Online. Faye.
Bayberry present.
Will.
William Coates present.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll move on to reading a position statement. Do I have a volunteer?
I will volunteer.
Emma.
To support the evolving needs of the MSU Denver students by advocating in their best interests to enhance the university experience and opportunities.
Wonderful. On to the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
To adopt the agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, are there any discussion or modifications to the agenda requested?
Um,
I'll see hands. Emma.
I would propose to move our discussion to before the announcements and updates to allow her to move on with her day.
Swap forward in 3.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear a motion to swap announcements and new business. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Matt. Is there any opposition to that? Great, that passes. More discussion on the agenda. Irby?
I would like to strike of the schedule recess for budget committee meeting to finalize the numbers.
Okay. Striking item 5. I would also propose, if we're gonna do that, to strike item A under old business as well. Is that it with you? Irby?
Mhm.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Seconded.
Okay, seconded by Matt. Is there any opposition? Seeing none, is there any opposition to the agenda as amended? Seeing none, that passes. We'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? Hello, could you introduce yourself? And then we'll give you 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Emilian Schluter, and I'm here today on behalf of Students for a Democratic Society. Also, my pronouns are she, they. Hi guys. As I just said, I'm here with Students for a Democratic Society. I'm here today to help you, to ask for your help, gosh, in securing $650 in missing funds for a Know Your Rights Legal Observer training that Students for a Democratic Society is putting on. I had a whole thing for this. It comes as a short notice. We have our training scheduled for Thursday. There are about 50 people in total to attend this training. And I know there have been ones in the past, but this just provides yet another opportunity to enhance the safety net that we have here on campus. And legal observer trainings in the past have been shown to keep law enforcement in check. So this would allow us to help build a better network where we can keep ICE, ACPD, and any other law enforcement acting right during any interactions, right? And so, yeah. And I just encourage y'all to work with us so we can make this thing happen. That's pretty much it.
So thank you so much. Are there any questions?
Is this public comment?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure.
Seeing none, thank you so much.
Mhm.
You're welcome to stay for this meeting, of course, if you'd like to. We'll move on to new business item 1, parent initiative discussion with Laura Delmonica.
Yes.
I'll give you the floor.
Great. Hi. Yeah, so I am interning with the Parenting Student Initiative, the Family U initiative on campus. So Family Unit is an initiative of an organization called Generation Hope that its mission is to help support students who are parents on campus, not just our campus, other campuses. And MSU has been working with this initiative for a few years now, and we're just about finished with it. One of my projects for this internship is to create some guidelines, just looking at parents bringing students either to campus or having their children in the academic setting, so in online settings and in the background of synchronous courses or meetings and that kind of thing. We have spoken with faculty and staff. We have spoken with parenting students, and we wanted to get some input from non-parenting students so that all voices are heard in these guidelines. So these aren't going to be policies. that are going to be enacted. They are just guidelines to help support parents and instructors in decision-making. So what I am hoping for from everyone here is just a little bit of input. If you have had any courses where someone has brought a child to the class, or if you have seen children in the background, if you have any online courses, or if you have any input into what's already in the guidelines right now. This is a draft, and so I'm happy for any input or any comments that you may have. I'm happy to give you some time if anyone wants to kind of read through it for a few minutes if you haven't yet. And I'm happy to read it out loud if anyone wants me to read it out loud.
So what is the overall goal of this?
The overall goal is just to create some shared understandings on campus. Right now, there's kind of this general overall thought that children are absolutely not allowed on campus. And there isn't a policy that disallows children from being brought on campus or into classrooms. And so we're trying to give a little bit of guidance to just help everyone have information and input from students who are parents, non-parenting students, faculty and staff, so they can have a little bit of guidance in making decisions in this area.
Was this initiative created because there was misunderstandings or miscommunications?
Yes. So there is quite a bit of misunderstanding about what is allowed and what isn't allowed on campus and in classes. And so we're hoping that this set of guidelines just helps clear up any confusion or gives those interested a little bit of direction.
Emma?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I've had a couple classes where people have had to bring their kids or like adapt to online learning and stuff. And it feels like thus far, in my experience with my professors, it felt like they mostly aligned with what looks like is already in here. And for me, as a non-parenting student, I feel like those were really positive experiences. It was not like every single time, or there was like grace given, like you got called on and you couldn't answer because your child was in the background, like just giving that grace, I guess. So I feel like it really lines up with what was in here. So I guess I was just supportive of what's in here. Helps.
Maria?
Where will this be published?
I am not 100% sure how it is going to be sent out. I think that the current plan is to send it out through, I don't know what the correct name for the group is, but there's a group of all of the heads of the different departments, the different department chairs. And I think that would be the dissemination point, but it will also go out to all of the parenting students who we have contact information for, stuff like that. And part of the will be sent out through the Parenting Student Association, which is another group on campus that I am the treasurer for. So we'll send it out through there also.
Emma?
I was just gonna say too, I think this would be good even for non-parenting students to know. I know here, personally, I know a lot of people watch siblings here as well, or nieces and nephews. So I just think them having access to this as a resource would be good as well, just information to know. Because it's not just parents.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I didn't define it. Parents, we use as an overarching term, but it does encompass everyone who is caring for a minor or has legal custody of a minor or is caring for someone with a disability.
Okay.
So it's kind of an all-encompassing term, even though it does seem very specific. It's just hard.
I just know there's a lot of people that don't necessarily have like legal or like, just like circumstantial
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah,
Thank you for bringing that up.
yeah.
If you were responsible for taking care of someone who's a minor or someone who is not considered what you call it, emancipated, so they have to have someone to take care of them. You're their guardian ad litem, I think is the term, the like Latin or whatever. So that would include if you're like just taking care of your, sister or something, even if you're not their parent. And I think that would probably cover your concern in that. I'm curious though, with these guidelines, what would be the signatory like authority of it? If it's not a policy, is it like guidance by the dean of students? Is it guidance by what office?
It, right now is just through the Parenting Students Initiative, the Family U Initiative on campus. It isn't an official policy. It's not being put in as an official policy in any way. And so right now, they are just suggestions published by the Parenting Student Initiative.
Maria?
Are there any liability issues that should be addressed in this?
So we kind of go over it. It does state that all of the regulations that are in place already still apply fully. We didn't write them out. They do exist already in MSU's database on the website. All of those are in place, and we do kind of talk about many of the things that they talk about, which is if you have a minor on Auraria campus at all, that you're responsible for them, they can't be out of your sight, that you're responsible for any damage that they cause. And so all of those are kind of already there, but there aren't any policies specifically addressing this yet. There is a policy in the catalog that addresses children on campus, but it is very short and it isn't very welcoming. And I think this is very important in our cadre values for MSU. One of the things is recognizing that we have a very diverse group of students and supporting all students to be successful and have, equitable treatment. And I think that this is one of those important things. And hopefully at one point we can have policies in place, but.
Yeah. And on another note, since we are a diverse school, is this guideline only in English, or is there other languages in which this can be translated into?
The plan is to translate it. Also, we're just writing it. So as soon as the draft is over or is finished, we will translate it.
Nathan?
I think this is pretty well put together. I agree that the parent does take full responsibility. The one thing I would say when it comes to the final draft, make sure that when it comes to areas of like confusion or concerns, make it very clear for both the instructors as well for the parents who they can contact if problems arise. The last thing you want is like a problem happening and then next week is when they actually reach out. That's when when you make this out, just makes it very, very clear, contact this person, contact this. I think communication on this is going to be extremely important.
So you're suggesting adding. You're looking on the last page where we talk about who to contact,
Yes,
and you're suggesting that I put specific.
yes, yeah,
Individuals.
make sure it's very specific.
Cause like on. Do this one, please. On page 4, you reference Meredith Moore
Yes.
by name there.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Meredith Moore is the online student success coach in the online learning program.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, could you, for example, like consult with the relevant campuses offices? Like, would you also like wanna like sites, like for example, you parenting as like a place of like support and like questions and guidance, like within this guideline, if that makes sense. Like right here, like at the, like if you need additional guidance, like to also include like other than like your, you know, like your Office of Equal Opportunity or Dean's Office, include like you parenting, right?
Oh, Family U.
Yeah, family, sorry.
So Family U is an initiative and it hasn't been formalized into an office yet.
Okay.
And so I will include the person who's running the family program, who's Dr. Lyons in the psychology department. But as of right now, there isn't an office that's handling this quite yet, like specifically.
All right.
Yeah, I guess on that, I would just be a little worried about publishing this with somebody's name in it, because she could quit tomorrow and you could publish this and there'd be no contact because she would no longer work here. Like if there could be like an easy creation of like a general email that could go to whoever fills this position instead of, because looks like it's just her or whoever is going to be there email, and if they leave.
Who at the university have you spoken to about this and about the potential for this turning into a policy or more rigid procedure in the future?
As of right now, Dr. Lyons, Kristen Lyons, who's running the initiative, is handling the communication with faculty and staff. She thought that the communication should come from faculty member rather than a student, because she felt that faculty and staff would be more willing to share actual concerns with another faculty member. So as of right now, I haven't had direct communication with faculty and staff outside of the people who are directly involved with Family U.
Is there a problem statement that you're looking to solve or mitigate the harm for with these guidelines?
So right now, just the confusion among students and among instructors is causing a lot of difficulty. And we have heard multiple stories through the PSA and through the Family U initiative of students coming to us and saying, hey, this is a big deal. Students on camp or children on campus, children in the background, children who are in the room during, proctored exams. There are no guidelines and the professors don't know what to say because there's no guidance. And so many of them have have the belief that it's just not allowed across the board. And so we're just trying to fill that gap of giving a little bit of guidance. Hopefully it still leaves it completely up to the instructor to make the decision that's correct for their course. It just is intended to give some advice.
I think the issues that I see at play are rights and responsibilities of the parenting student, the rights and responsibilities of the professor, and then the, I guess like the rights of the other students in the class, like to avoid disruption, et cetera. I'm curious how this interplay. I know this also probably falls into academic freedom in some way where professors have sort of broad authority over what happens in the classroom. And so I would love to see official university guidance, like from academic affairs to professors, that if you are going to allow students in the classroom, this is the best way to do it, or or guidance for instances of like when you should allow a parenting student to bring a child or their ward, I guess is a hard word in general, into the classroom. I would be very interested in seeing if academic affairs office would be interested in starting something like that. I don't know if this makes sense to be a policy, but I think this would be really cool as a procedure, which would need to go through faculty senate. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
I agree. I would love for it to be adapted and turned into an official policy or procedure. This is just kind of hopefully the start.
Yeah. Do you know if Dr. Lyons is on faculty senate?
I do not know.
You should reach out to them to get their ideas on this too, because they would be the people that would help push for something like this if they were interested in it.
There was something about no new policies being brought
Academic
yet,
policies, yeah, but
or
academic policies are different than just like
a procedure.
procedural guidance. And so like there can be a policy which is like must be followed, and then procedural guidance is like can be followed, or there can be actual procedures that must be followed too, but it's certainly possible for there to be official guidance as opposed to just like a advocacy organization's guidance, which is good and wonderful, but I do think it'd be really cool to have to fix that confusion that happens, just to know exactly what like me, MSU professor, is expected to do, and also what I'm allowed to do, and et cetera. That'd be really cool. So, because I know we have tons of professors that would be really interested in helping out all their students, especially if it's not disruptive, but they're scared to break something, break some rule or something. So
I agree. And it's not just that, we're hoping that professors can also create some wiggle room in their syllabus to account for, child illnesses, and to account for, when there is like a sudden childcare issue, and maybe the professor has points assigned to being in the class, and what does that look like if a student suddenly can't come because they can't bring their child to, a chemistry course lab. And so that's what we're hoping, is trying to just starting the conversation. But thank you for your time.
yeah. Stephanie?
I guess, I was wondering like, if you guys have thought about like, because I hear that there's kind of like confusion and, not knowing if something is allowed or not when it comes to bringing children to the classroom. Were you guys thinking of like, I guess, providing more education when it comes to like transfer students coming to MSU or incoming freshmen to MSU, kind of like, I guess, thinking about grabbing some stuff from these guidelines, and including it to like your, when like you come to MSU, you're supposed to do like an orientation thing. I guess including like a little bit of a glimpse of like, hey, like, here's the procedures. If you're a parenting student, here's the guidelines for this, or like, did you know that blah, 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 right? I guess kind of just like helping with the confusion and for students like right from the beginning.
It is a goal. I like that. We've been talking, the Parenting Student Association has been talking about kind of tabling at convocation, trying to get into new students sooner. Part of the issue is that this initiative and this work from MSU is brand new, just within the last few years. And so we're kind of building ground up with this. And so we just finished a survey, and for this last academic year, or this academic year that we're currently in. And the survey showed that just about 14% of incoming MSU students are parenting students, which is a pretty significant percentage. And so, but this is the first we have this data, the first time, and so we're trying to figure out ways to reach out. And so I'm completely open to any ideas for how to get the word out more. So I like that idea, the orientation, including an orientation. It is on Canvas. There is information for parenting students in the tab on Canvas.
This also, if people have hands, raise your hand. I'll gladly yield to someone else first. Okay, this reminds me of like access center accommodation requests, and I think a system similar to that might make sense, but I will say I do think that my experience anyway with trying to get accommodations, the typical vibes are if the professor is going to work with you, you won't even need a specific access center letter to get the accommodation that you need. And I think this is likely going to be similar with parenting student accommodations, like needing to leave class on an emergency basis and trying to make up a test or something for participation points, et cetera. And I think they would make a lot of sense, to fix this confusion, to have that like official guidance, because if you don't have the official guidance, then there's nothing that says the professor must do one thing or the other, and then the only time you're actually gonna even experience that at all is just going to be the negative side of things. It's gonna be when a professor doesn't allow for any sort of makeups on those sort of situations. So I'd be very interested to see like, because this all of it balances with academic freedom, because they have like a lot of authority over their classrooms, and so it's like, it's hard to balance, but it'd be very interesting to have that conversation at the academic affairs level.
It is a little bit interesting. There is some crossover with Title IX, because pregnant students are considered parenting students and they are protected through Title IX. And so there are some specific rules through them that apply to pregnant parenting students, but beyond, and in there still is quite a bit of confusion in that regard. I haven't included pregnancy in this just because it's covered by Title IX. But I agree with you.
Where's this document that you're creating? Where is its like, for now, final stage? Is it like getting a version that stakeholders you've sort of talked to like, and then publishing it from the organization that you're part of, or is it presenting this to the school saying, hey, pass this, or something like that?
As of right now, the idea is to create this document, have it essentially approved or, supported by all of the stakeholders that we've discussed, been in discussion with for it, and then kind of disseminated widely. That's kind of the goal right now. We are also interested in presenting it, but I don't think we have anything official scheduled for that quite yet.
I'm just a little bit weary, I don't know that I've set my mind on it or not yet, but I'm a little bit weary of creating something like this that's not official, because I'm worried it might create more confusion. Like a student reading this thinking they might have certain like abilities to do something, but then a professor not honoring it because the professor's like, well, I have no official guidance. All I have is this document that's been stake held, but not necessarily signed off on. But I don't know that I like am reserved to hold that apprehension. It's just like, my first thought is like, I don't know if it's possible to create more confusion with this document if it's not signed off on by someone. Any other hands? Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I really appreciate you all giving me time to come and talk with you about this. And I appreciate all of your input significantly. I really wanted it. I'm interested in whether or not after this is finished, I can send it back and you can let me know if student government supports what is contained in the document.
When is your timeline for you expected to have a final draft or a semi-final draft?
Hopefully in the next 2 weeks.
You're welcome to send it. Who's the person you've been talking to from us? Steffi?
Steffi.
If would that make sense, unless there's any objection, if we'll just send it to Steffi, Steffi will get that to us. And then if we have time and ability, we may try to get you a recommendation of like what we think officially.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to resolution to co-sponsor Know Your Rights training, Know Your Rights and Legal Observer training. This is my resolution, so I can't maintain the chair. Patrick seems to be on hold online, so I'm gonna pass it off to Matthew, accountability chair.
Okay.
Is that okay? I did ask you, but I didn't have to look here.
Well, it's been a minute. Okay, so I pass back off to you to repeat it.
Wonderful. I didn't name the assignments and numbers. I think this is Was it say on the agenda?
10.
10, I didn't write it in the document. CRSP 2610, resolution to co-sponsor a Know Your Rights and Legal Observer training authored by Sky Childress, sponsored by Students for Democratic Society Denver. Abstract, this SUTSAC Sustainability Committee resolution authorizes funding and collaboration to co-host a Know Your Rights and Legal Observer event. In furtherance of CRFA 25-01, this resolution expressly authorizes an additional $150 to be spent towards the training. Whereas the Sustainability Committee of SUTSAC strives to ensure that all students have access to essential resources and opportunities that support their personal development, career advancement, and academic success. Whereas in today's unprecedented times, the United States government has taken a deplorable action and ordered its Department of Homeland Security to detain and deport millions of people who live on the land the U.S. sits on. Whereas DHS, through its division, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is enforcing this order by arbitrarily kidnapping people based on race or ethnicity, indefinitely detaining them and denying them due process. Whereas considering this order being enforced, an important piece of ensuring student access to resources and opportunities includes ensuring they have access to resources that are useful in defending themselves from this assault. Whereas one of the strongest defenses that ordinary people have against this assault on basic rights and freedoms is community response, community education, and a refusal of community to accept this behavior as normal. Whereas Students for Democratic Society Denver, a registered student organization with MSU Denver, has planned a Know Your Rights and Legal Observer. Patrick, it seems you're unmuted. A Know Your Rights and Legal Observer training for Thursday, April 23rd, that will be posted on campus. SDS Denver has experienced a recent shortfall in their ability to pay for this training. Whereas this training's content will be similar in nature to the content of the trainings that have been hosted by TSAC Sustainability Committee this academic year, with a particular focus on how bystanders and protesters can legally interact with ICE officers during First Amendment protected activity. Whereas, because of the specificity of the training, it would be best given by a lawyer instead of by immigrant advocacy organizations. Because of this, SDS Denver has been working with Bread and Roses Legal Center to make this training happen, with Bread and Roses Legal Center's fee for their lawyers' time to prepare and give the training being $650 total, including supplies for the training. Therefore, be it resolved, in collaboration with Students for Democratic Society Denver, SUTSAC will partially fund and co-sponsor this event, with SUTSAC contributing $650, including the already approved $500 from CRFA 25-01. Finally, be it resolved that these purchases will be made from the Sustainability Committee Fund.
I know.
I was happy to get this. I'm gonna give a little bit of context for this. So the CR FA 2501 resolution that passed a while ago, September, August, we had 2 out of the 4 that we planned to have for the year. What do you call it? Know Your Rights trainings. And so that would leave an additional $500 for each one for the remaining 2 that we should do. At this time, I don't think it makes sense for the Sustainability Committee to plan 2 more for this year. And we've sort of abandoned that idea and are seeking to partner with the SDS to help fund and support theirs that's happening this Thursday, actually. And so because the amount of money they are sort of short on for this training is more than $500, I felt it was needed to write a resolution, especially because we knew in advance, to cover that additional $150 beyond the initial allocation. However, it wouldn't go over the total initially allocated for the resolution previously. It would just allow this one event to go over that. Yeah. And then a lot of the whereases and content from this one is directly pulled from the previous resolution because it's sort of on the same vein. With that, I would motion to approve and then start debate, I guess. Makes sense.
A second motion.
Debate.
So Nathan?
Well, we're going to debate, right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. I will say, so to understand this, this is a resolution to give money to a student organization, correct?
No.
No, so this is not going to a student organization.
Okay.
This is a resolution to co-sponsor an event with a student org. So we'd be paying for part of the event, they're paying for another part of the event.
So we're not, so the money's not going to.
We're not sending a check to SDS, no. We would be paying for the trainer to give this training.
This sounds like it goes against our student council, because we're not supporting a student organization.
Can I respond?
Yeah, of course.
We do lots of things that aren't directly supporting student organizations. We buy things all the time. The purchase that would be made under this resolution, I feel, and I hope my co-counselors here feel, would support the student body. I don't know that it's not like a direct support payment to SDS though. We partnered, we did a LinkedIn workshop, I believe, and we partnered with another student organization where they paid for part of it and we paid for part of it. This is a very common practice among student government events.
I feel like
What's your objection?
my objection is this feels like very, this is for personal goals rather than the student government, as for the student organizations as a whole. I don't also find it kind of weird that this is going to support a student government event, but all student organizations always come in with a presentation, what they're going to be doing, their goals, with like budgets that they're coming out, what the money's going to go for. And this just kind of bypasses all of that because you have the ability to write to the resolution yourself. Instead of going through the process that all other organizations are doing, it feels like this is just bypassing this and it's just going to support the organization you're in.
I'm not in Students for Democratic Society Denver, but okay.
Okay.
I guess first I want to point out previous Know Your Rights trainings that were also co-sponsored by the SG-TSAC Sustainability Committee were also like in partnership, for example, with CCD Student Government. And that's not sending a check to their student organization, that is their student government. That's co-sponsoring an event with them. It's a completely different process than what you're talking about. And also, since we have the money for it and this Know Your Rights training would have similar content to the Know Your Rights trainings that have already been done, that the funding was approved for in the resolution from September. And because Sustainability Committee's mission is to support the student body with opportunities like this, I see no reason why we shouldn't do this. It's a great opportunity to support the students of this campus.
Direct response?
No.
Maria?
Everything.
I have a few questions actually.
Yeah.
So in total, would it be 1,050? No, 500 and then 650, right?
So the total that this resolution would be authorizing would be an additional 150 on top of the already authorized 500 from CR 25 FA1. So this is just, the total purchase would be 650. 500 of that's already been authorized. The extra 150 would be to authorize an additional one from the sustainability budget.
Is that a direct response?
No, another question.
Because I have Patrick in front of you. And then
Hello.
go Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't worry, I'm not in the sky. I'm not in the sky right now. So my question, so you're saying that we already authorized $500. We authorized for the SR20 for that specific one, which was a collaboration with Coalition of Immigration Rights Coalition. We also did it with the three student governments. That was not authorized for other events. No, I know your rights training outside of those. I also feel like previously you mentioned that we weren't gonna have any more of those Know Your Rights training. Likewise, on a separate note of that, I have a question for Steve and Dr. Brown. I want to see if there's any I Know Your Rights trainings that's being provided via ISP or First Generation or any other administration organizations.
I'm not sure. Can I respond?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure because it's the end of the semester, Patrick. Those things are typically happening during the, like at the beginning of the semester or in the middle. So I'm not quite sure right now. We're kind of winding down or doing a like celebration, stream or graduation, those types of things, but I can definitely check with Gregor and see if that's planned.
I would also like to respond to that part that was with me.
Okay.
Patrick, I'm not sure where you're getting that from, but in CRFA 2501 that authorizes money to be spent for Know Your Rights trainings. It doesn't specifically say what partners we have to partner with. So for the last two, we've partnered, one was with CERC, who provided trainers. One was with the Colorado Rapid Response Network, who provided trainers. And this one in this case would be with Bread and Roses Legal Center, it's a law firm who would provide the training. So I don't see much of a difference there. The idea is that it is a immigrant rights related training on a Know Your Rights training. Does that make sense?
Is that a direct response, Patrick?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Did in any of those sponsors or Know Your Rights training of that specific bill, did it mention Students for a Democratic Society?
Okay.
Are you talking about CRFA 2501?
Correct.
No.
Emma?
Could be wrong, but I thought in our original one that we passed, we took out some of the more divisive language in it. I feel like we could sum this up in a way that I would feel a little bit more supportive by just cutting the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth whereas, and kind of just summing it up as this is similar to what we already passed, because I think we took out some of that more divisive language in the past. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we did in the last one.
Direct response?
Yeah, I wouldn't call that divisive language, but I do not believe that was taken out. I think there was another line that was taken out. However, I'm totally amenable to striking those second, third, fourth, and fifth whereases. That's fine with me because we've already resolved this, so that's fine. That amendment is friendly. Oh, and then my question that I had before was responding to Patrick. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Nathan, I wanted to ask, what was your objection that you're sort of saying? You're saying that you think that this resolution would be
Actually needs
what do you call it?
actually needs
sorry,
some clarity.
Let me finish.
One
my
at
question.
one at a time.
You're saying that you would that you think that this is sort of bypassing the student organization's funding process through TSAC's like budget side of things, and that you wanted SDS to come present instead of us co-sponsoring it?
Yes, because
Okay.
this sounds like we're supporting an student organization. To my now I have to ask, are you part of Know Your Rights training? I thought you were.
What does that mean?
Well, Know Your Rights training. Are you part of it? As in, like, I thought you were hosting these events. Are you not?
Sorry, Know Your Rights training. Am I part of Know Your Rights training?
Yes. Yes.
Is that like an organization?
Yes, or the events themselves. Like, are you the ones that's hosting it? Like, I'm confused of where Know Your Rights training and what the sponsoring the money's going to sponsor. Like, what's going on here? Is there two separate organizations? Is this an event caused by hosted by an organization? Clarity.
Yes.
Are you part of it?
Am I part of the Know Your Rights training?
Yes.
I am not part of this Know Your Rights training. I will likely go to be a participant to watch it.
So I'm sorry, I thought you were, that's why I thought you were like, this bill was part of like, a self-initiative.
It's not.
Okay.
I'm not an interested party to any of the organizations mentioned in this document other than TSAC.
That was my mistake. I said, I thought you were
Okay.
the one that was organizing the Know Your Rights training.
No, I have organized Know Your Rights trainings before, and I've done that through TSAC. I've organized two now. I would end up being a co-organizer of this if we pass this today, because we'd be co-hosting it. But that's in my capacity as a member of TSAC and sustainability co-chair.
Okay, so you were part of it before, correct?
What is it?
It's
Know Your Rights. You're part of Know Your Rights, because it sounds like you're trying to separate yourself from Know Your Rights, which I just don't understand.
so for clarification,
Yeah.
we passed a resolution in the fall that created these Know Your Rights trainings through sustainability.
Okay.
So that is how Sky is related to them, but again, it's through TSAC.
No, so know your rights is a concept, not an
Yeah.
organization.
Okay, all right,
So know your rights being like to know one's rights. It's not an organization named Know Your Rights. I'm not part of something.
Yeah.
So know
Okay.
your rights trainings is trainings for people to know their rights. Typically, it's your First Amendment right to speech, your.
so it's basically like an event.
Yes,
It's a
it's
school
it's an
event. Okay,
event we would be
alright.
co-hosting with another student organization on campus. We would be paying for part of it, they would be paying for part of it. We're sort of making up a funding shortfall they've recently encountered. And we
Okay,
would be partnering with them. What I would likely see was probably me and another member of sustainability committee tabling for TSAC at this event, getting to know the 50-ish students that be there. Like, just an event.
okay,
It's not my event that we're now funding. It's just an event.
okay. Like I said, that definitely need a lot of clarity of what's like, who's involved, what's like, what is involved.
Yeah.
All right,
So, but as far as where the money is going to compensate the trainer that would be coming. That's explained in the last therefore, I believe.
I'll have more questions for that, but I'll open the floor to others.
Steffi?
Yeah, so a question. So you said that we approved for 500 each event thing, right? No, you're right. It's 4 of them. Only 2 actually happened. So that leaves $1,000, correct?
Yes,
That was designated.
that would leave 1,000 that would be approved under CR FA 2501 for Know Your Rights trainings.
So-
Sustainability this morning sort of voted to participate in this. That's sort of what sustainability gets to make the decision if we're gonna participate in another one. During the most recent sustainability committee meeting. And so we want to participate in it certainly. And so the $500, absolutely, we're already approved there. We just want to approve the additional 150 because within each training, the original resolution limits that approval to $500 for each training.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's the reason for new resolution. It's just to increase that by 150. We do not intend to do a 4th training at all this fiscal year. We originally thought it might make sense doing it over the summer. We decided against it.
Yeah, my question was just like, since the 1,000 was clearly like left over under that resolution, could have just not gone through. So like what?
So that's not, you're not wrong. It could have just gone through. So as the fund manager, I have authority to spend $150 for my fund. That's fine. Like I would just have to go like send the invoice essentially, but I wanted to, because there was a previous resolution that said that money was designated for $500 per event. I wanted to come back to TSAC and seek that additional 150 approval officially. Even though like our committee, just like your committee, could vote to spend money on something and that's okay.
So I guess like, so like you said here, they already approved 500, so that's already like, you already told them yes to 500.
I mean, I haven't communicated the yes to them
Okay.
because it's one transaction of 650, and so I don't want
Okay.
to say we can pay a partial transaction or something. The Sustainability Committee, in our most recent meeting did approve it $500 that we sort of already have approved there. This additional 150 would be seeking approval to go, but it would be coming from our budget from the amount already allocated towards Know Your Rights trainings.
I guess that's just like my thought is that like, I guess it would have been more easily digestible, like just like if the resolution just mentioned an addition of 150. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it mentions it in the abstract. It just says the purpose of the resolution is to increase the amount by 150. And then at the bottom, it says 650 total. But I mean, I apologize if it wasn't as clear, but I hope it's clear now. So.
Maria?
I'm just interested in hearing what the difference is between this event and the previous events that have been hosted, if there's any.
Absolutely. So I think this is also on the resolution, but I'm happy to explain it again. So the first Know Your Rights training was CERC's curriculum. So it was their curriculum geared towards members who may have to interact with law enforcement, which could be anyone, but it's primarily ICE. And then it could also be geared toward immigrants who might have to interface with the entire system of immigration enforcement. And so it's knowing what your rights are, knowing you don't have to sign papers when you're asked to, et cetera. That's like what the first one was about. The second one was a confirmer training. So it's a very specific training through the Colorado Rapid Response Network that has a large portion of Know Your Rights content, but also trains people to be a confirmer. So they can actually confirm whether or not a given law enforcement activity is ICE activity, or if it's DPD activity or SWAT or what it is, and then report that back to the Rapid Response Network. This training would be slightly different. It's geared toward interacting with ICE directly and protesting in the realms of ICE, in the area of ICE. So it's geared toward how to use your First Amendment protected First Amendment rights and to do First Amendment protected activity in the presence of ICE, and how to do that legally and safely. And so that like this one's a lot more similar to like the second one, but it is just slightly different. It's more geared towards the sort of legal observing and like going and videoing. That's the First Amendment protected activity, going and videoing things that are happening and documenting.
Thank you. Yeah.
Of course.
I have a legal question. Who is documenting this? Is it like immigrants or are the people who are like the citizens who are like authorized to do this?
Okay. So this training is not like an organization like training people to be members of their organization and go do something specifically like in an organized way. This is training individual people how to know their own personal rights. So that's up to them. It's up to each individual person if they want to go and they want to exercise their First Amendment rights in the face of law enforcement activity or if they or any other thing. The second like sort of caveat to that though is that like we as individual people can't always control what law enforcement officers do around us. And so we may not have the choice whether or not we interact with ICE or interact with police if they come to us. And so this would help you know your rights in those situations too. But it's not like creating an organized system to send people to protests. It's just so people know their individual rights.
Nathan?
Wow, yeah. My biggest issue with this now is the co-sponsoring. This almost shows favoritism to a student organization, which I am 100% against. So I can understand it being separate, like TSAC's event, or it could be TSAC supporting this event by funding them. But co-sponsoring is something that I feel like as student government shouldn't do, because now all student government, what does it mean for other student organizations when we don't co-sponsor them? But yes, go right ahead.
That's guy.
I appreciate your philosophical difference, but TSAC has, and I hope always will, co-sponsor events with student organizations. We have this academic year. I hope we do next year. I personally hope that my student government does not stop partnering with student orgs to do events.
There's partnering and then there's supporting. That's the difference.
And I hope my organization, I hope my student government doesn't stop supporting, sponsoring, co-sponsoring, engaging with the student body and student organizations all the time. And this is not any different than we've done in the past. Sorry, I'm confused what your connection is because we've had this sponsored by Line be another student organization before too. It's not just SDS.
Are you free? No. Patrick?
So to clarify two things on one of them being it's for bystanding and protesting, right? For students, not necessarily the community itself that are going to be there, that are being directly affected by this. Secondly, how come, I know it's a little bit late notice. You mentioned it was because of the closing of the club funding that we had previously, which was CMI. How come we didn't collaborate on this ahead of time? Aside of just that, is it just because they couldn't get the funding from there, or is it because we really want to support this initiative?
Okay.
They didn't ask until then. They had assumed they were going to be okay and assumed they had the funding that they needed, and they realized they didn't. And I got a text message from one of their members because they know that I've put on. It's actually one of the members that came to a previous Know Your Rights training that TSAC had put on.
I actually have a question then. Why is theirs more expensive? Okay.
Because the trainer is charging a fee. Whereas previously, I'm actually a trainer with CERC, and so we had I'd given my time for free to do one of the trainings, and then there was an MSU professor and someone else who gave the training for corn, and they also did it for free, or I guess for free with food.
Did you start?
I guess I just want to know more about like SDS and anybody else who's also sponsoring this event, or is it just SDS like event?
It'd be SDS and us if this passes.
Okay. I kind of, I have a follow-up question because I was like reading the resolution and yes, it does say in collaboration with student organizations, but it also like mentions CERC
Mhm.
and like ISP and Gita, so it's like it feels like I understand that this is like technically under the resolution, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it is because the resolution was like written for like to be a TSAC event co-sponsored by CERC, ISP, Gita, and any other student org, right? But this seems like it's like an SDS event that's asking us to do co-sponsor that happens to be a no-zero rat training, if that makes sense.
So the original resolution mentions a lot of different organizations. It's ambitious. For both of our trainings we've had so far, neither one of them were sponsored by every single organization on that list. One of them was co-sponsored with the two student governments of the other schools and CERC. The other one was sponsored by Corn and ISP. This one would be sponsored by TSAC and SDS. And I guess technically Bread and Roses Legal Center as well for giving the training. But I guess I don't see, we're not gonna have every single event be every single person. And so I had reached out to Gita and had ambitions to like have them partner with us as well on the other trainings. But they just are also like close to a capacity, if that makes sense. And so like the resolution was written very broad for a reason. It was so that we can partner with the organizations in the relevant area, not necessarily to prescribe that every single event must have these 7 co-sponsors.
Emma?
I just wanted to clarify, are you saying like the intent of the original one was to have us host the event and have people added on?
Yeah.
But this one feels different because it's their event and we're like globbing onto that? Is
I
that
guess.
what your feeling is different?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like, I guess like technically like it is like, you know, user art training, it goes under resolution, but at the same time, it just feels like a different matter. So I don't know if,
Our home
yeah.
base.
Okay.
I guess I don't think the original intent was that. My sort of perspective on it is that it's sort of out of scope for like TSAC to be like the authority on giving know your rights information out to students. And so I view us as like for both of the previous ones, like kind of the side piece, low key. Like we paid for the food and we provided help with registration at the most recent training. We didn't even have a single section of the training that's dedicated for us to give content to it. It was like purely trying to get the information out to students and like hosting immigrant rights advocacy organizations on campus. That was the previous one. The one before that, we did have a table, but the primary purpose of that event was for the training to happen, not for us to get like name recognition, if that makes sense. And so like, I don't think it's imperative that we be the organization that planned every single second of the event. For the first one, we co-planned it with the other 2 student governments. And Carla, who was one of the CU SGA members, like helped plan that a lot and did a lot of work for it. And I don't see, I wouldn't feel right saying that we were necessarily the primary on that, if that makes sense. I would say working together to co-host an event with other organizations, we don't necessarily need to prescribe a hierarchy in that.
Nathan?
Yeah, why, so is there literally no that willing to volunteer for free to do this? You have to pay for a lawyer?
So as with any sort of event where there's an educational component, you could certainly grab anyone off the street to give the training, but if someone has a very specific expertise, it makes sense to have them. And if they charge a fee, that's okay.
What efforts have we made to find somebody to, like, we have professors that study law, we have, no one has made any attempt to find other resources willing to do it for free? Like,
So there certainly are resources that would do things for free, as we talked about earlier with Corn and with CERC, who did do free trainings.
yes,
However, those are different types of training. At the passage of this original resolution, it was talked about in the discussion, because I remember it, that the hopes was for each training to be a little bit different from the others. To have different types of content. So the first one was a purely know your rights training. We planned to do like a intersection of labor and know your rights. So we're gonna have people come in from a labor organization and talk about the intersection there. That one didn't end up working out. We had one specifically about confirming with CORN and the Immigrant Rights Network. This one would be much more geared towards legal observing and protesting and that sort of area. That's a very specific expertise that Bread and Roses Legal Center does have and has been a nonprofit legal center operating in Colorado for the last 3 years doing protest defense work, that other organizations like CORN and like CERC don't have that very specific tailored expertise. And to be honest, $650 for probably 3 to 4 hours of a lawyer's time is actually really cheap for an expert in their field. And so like, I know we're sitting here debating it, but like, that's actually super cheap for an expert lawyer. Like, that's actually kind of great.
I mean, I don't care how cheap it is. I'm just the efforts that have been made. Because this is, like I said, I still don't know if this is event is ran by TSAC or DSD. Like I still,
Yes.
yeah.
So SDS,
SDS,
and
sorry,
absolutely,
SDS.
it would be co-hosted by SDS and TSAC.
Well, okay, so they're both of the organizations are working together as a group for this.
If this resolution passes, yes, this would authorize that. I mean, I guess technically the Sustainability Committee authorized it by voting for it, but this would authorize additional funding. But yes, absolutely, we'd be working together with them. It's not just an SDS event or a TSAC event.
That's organization favoritism. I can't.
We've done it before.
I can't.
So I don't think it's favoritism. I think it's partnership. And I think that's a different thing. We could partner with every single student org from the university, but we're going to partner with one or the other based on just like capacity, time, and interest.
So I have Patrick in the stack. Give me just 1 sec. We'll put some stuff in the chat that I wanted to read out.
Wonderful.
So does that mean that we will co-lead this event with SDS? Also, do you know if SDS has done any other types of fundraising for this event? Okay.
Yes, SDS has secured the funding for all of the catering for the event. And they will also be providing their own like labor to set it up and help work with that. We would be tabling at this event if this resolution does pass. Can you read that question again?
I think the food, but not the expert.
So does that mean we will co-lead with them in this event? Also,
Oh, yes, absolutely. We would be co-leading in this event. I will say this would be very similar to our previous trainings that we've done, which is that like neither SDS nor TSAC would be given like a large portion of the event to like speak at and like have part of the programming. The event itself is a training. And so the trainers would be given the like absolute largest majority of the time. There might be like a tiny introduction between us at SDS at the beginning of the event or something for like a minute, but like that's about it. But it would be co-leading an event. It's just the event programming is not going to have like a 20-minute SDS propaganda session or a TSAC propaganda session. It's just going to be the training.
Patrick?
All right, so who is hosting this event? And I think I have a follow-up question, but who's hosting this event? Just want to clarify.
Yes, I think this is what's been being said. Us and SDS would be hosting this event together as co-hosts.
As co-hosts, because this sounds like an event that has been created, been contacted. There's already all these things going on. It was applied for TCP and it was denied because it was closed. So that was going to be a student organization event. If this is a student organization event and we want to sponsor that, according to our guidelines and procedures, it has to go through a whole process of the budget committee. Unlike the previous ones that you mentioned prior for these organizations, those were TSAC events that those organizations co-sponsored with us. And the other ones that we have sponsored with, those were not student organizations. Those were just departments or other nonprofit organizations.
What's your question? Sorry. Who hosted the event?
Not really much of a question, but I'm saying if this isn't really a co-sponsor, this is just a sponsor of an event. We're going to be giving them funds And according to our guidelines, procedures, if it's a sponsored event, they have to go through the procedures that's stated in our guidelines of the budget committee.
I don't know that that's explicitly true. I think that that's a different thing. That's a funding process. This would be co-hosting. And so it wouldn't, it's not just like, can I speak first? Okay. It's not just like they're going on a trip somewhere and we're paying for their tickets. We would be at the event, tabling at the event, being part of the event, helping put it on, helping with logistics day up. Does that make sense?
That sounds like you're just trying to work around the rules. That doesn't really sound like you're trying to do a real co-hosting. If you were trying to plan this event, we would have been reached out weeks ago.
I would call your attention to the many resolutions that TSAC has passed over the last 2 years, a week before the event started, that we were part of and that we co-hosted. I don't think the timing explicitly is saying what you're saying. This isn't going around a process. That process has $0 in that bank account. There's no reason to apply for that process. This is co-hosting an event. Can I speak? One diva, one mic.
Jeez.
This would be co-hosting an event. And so we can argue the semantics, but it's co-hosting.
You say here, it says, and therefore resolve will partially fund and co-sponsor. It doesn't say co-host.
We can argue the semantics, putting an event on together, co-sponsoring an event, co-hosting an event. So if us and SDS are both sponsors of this event, then we're doing it together. Does that make sense?
Then who's hosting the event? If an event, the sponsorship is people who fund and get their collaboration and help fund those things. That's like sponsoring, hosting events, like do great in it, right? And this wasn't one that we necessarily created. This is one that was pitched to us, and then we have set guidelines to help out organizations if they want us to sponsor these events, and they have to go to have budget committee, send in their processing fund, and then after that, they have to present to us for 50 minutes, then we can approve that. That's part of the process for a student organization.
I think you misunderstand the point of the resolution. It's not to fund a student organization's initiative. It is partnering with the student organization who is doing similar work to what we are doing to put on an event together for the good of the students. So it's co-sponsoring. I don't know, your question about the semantics of like whether we're using the word host or sponsor is sort of, it's not needed. It's not a useful distinction. Who's hosting? The space that we booked is hosting, I guess, if you want to say it. But we are co-sponsoring an event to bring an expert trainer to campus to train our students on something that is important.
Well, it kind of goes with Will's other question. So this isn't a co-led event?
So,
because that was his question earlier that I'm assuming he feels wasn't completely answered or he's confused.
yeah, it absolutely would be co-led, 100%. Like there would not be a dedicated section for us to give content at the training because we're not the trainers, but it would be absolutely co-led. We'd both be there, both helping with logistics, both supporting this event.
Did you still have something, Nathan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that the organization raised the money for food, but not for the experts that they need to have at the events. I just don't think or student organization needs to be good. It's what they need to provide for, at least for TSAC and what they want to do. And I have to agree with the budget committee that this feels like it just goes around trying to go around a bunch of rules that we've already established. And I do absolutely feel like this is playing favoritism. The student TSAC is absolutely trying to get involved with this organization instead of like, if we do this for this organization, then we need to co-host every single one, because why wouldn't we? But if we don't, then we're playing favorites, period.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it playing favorites at all. There's a difference in co-hosting an event and paying for someone's travel and they applied for money for us to pay for their plane ticket to go to California. That's an entirely different thing. So like, we have had student organizations come through the process and get money for an event that did not have our name on it, that we were not at. There have been many organizations this year that have done that. That's an entirely different thing than an organization who is doing something that we are also doing, and we're putting both of our names on it. We're both working on it. We'll both be there supporting it day of. That's completely different.
I see the why we need to be different. It doesn't need to. We can treat all organizations the same.
It's not a difference of treatment to the organization. They're different events. So let's take ARC Sober Tailgate as an example that we did fund. They applied to us for our funding through our process. They went through, they got our funding, they had their event. That's an entirely different thing than SDS reaching out to student government and student government deciding to co-sponsor an event with them for their shared ideals and shared, like mission. We've been doing these Know Your Rights trainings since the beginning of this academic year. Like this is right on par with what we're already doing. Hence the co-sponsorship and the co-hosting, whatever semantics we want to use today.
All right, and then I have Ruby.
When and where is this happening? And just like amendable language, can we like change the language of whereas?
Whereas 3 is already struck. It's gone. Yep. I will clarify though, whereas 2 through 5 were pulled directly from our previous resolution, and that's why I left them in, but they've been stricken because we've already said that, so no worries. But yeah, it's this Thursday at 6 p.m. There's an expected attendance of about 50 people that have been planning to come to this event. As to the question of they bought the food and not the trainer, the food is slightly cheaper than the trainer, and they have the food and the space. Not just, they applied for all 3. They weren't given all 3. They had a funding shortfall that would not fund the not fund the training itself as opposed to the food. And so like, I don't think we need to specifically like dive into and critique the fact that they were able to get a certain amount of money for the event, but not the full amount. Instead, we should look at what we want to do differently. But yeah, absolutely. Strike those problems. It's totally fine.
When they reached out to you, was it just your initiative to like, were they asking for money or were they asking for our support to like co-sponsor them?
Absolutely. They reached out to me, texted me, I know some of their members. And these are members that have been to the previous trainings, and they absolutely asked to co-sponsor it. At first, they were like, hey, I got denied for funding. Do you know how I can get money for this event? And then they asked to co-sponsor. This was last week on Thursday.
I have Patrick again. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm referring to not section 9.1, which is for funding for events. I'm referring 9.4, which is event for donations and sponsorships. And that's what that states. And secondly, I moved the previous question. I motion to vote on the previous question.
Are you motioning to end debate and go into voting?
That is what that motion is, yes.
Is that correct, Patrick?
Correct, Amundo.
Do I have a second? I have a second from Emma.
Beautiful.
All right. All right, here's roll call. And start online. Start with Faye.
Point of clarification, are we currently voting on the motion or voting on the motion to end debate?
Oh. I resend that really quick, sorry. A little new to chairing this year. So all in.
This would be for debate.
Yeah, all in favor of ending debate, go into voting, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any nays?
I abstain.
All right, we have 1 abstention. Any nays? Nope. So that passes. So now let's go to voting.
voting on the resolution itself.
So we're voting on the resolution itself. I don't know, let's start with Irby.
No.
No? From me, Steffi?
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Emma?
I will abstain.
Emma abstains. Going online, since Patrick's unmuted, do you want to start, Patrick?
Yeah, I can start.
How do you vote?
No.
William Coates? Or Faye, if you want to pop out?
Sure, I can go next. I vote in favor. Yes.
And William?
LOL, you're allowed to abstain, dude. You're fine. Bro votes.
I might have to say no on this one.
And that is,
What did that go as? Sorry, I wasn't telling in my head is.
4 yes, 4 no, 2 abstain. Yep,
Alright, so that did not pass.
motion fails.
And at that, I will return the chairship back to Scott.
Okay, moving on to announcement updates from staff members.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
You have a lot, so I don't, you always have a lot. Couple things, wanted to just thank Matt for being at the event this morning. We went, Stephen and I and Matt went to the SACAB event this morning. It was very nice. I guess just so you all know, I know many of you were in class and couldn't make it. I saw the chat, like that is fine, FYI, but I do think moving forward that it is really important how we think about our tri-institutional collaborations and what that looks like and how we show up in those spaces. So I can tell you what to do. I'm just gonna put it out there that not having a presence and not, like that speaks volumes too. So just something to think about for next year. And I think it was pretty symbolic of that bill being passed, and those who've been around will, Matt, Denny, that has been going on for about 3 or 4 years. So for that to actually happen was kind of a big deal. So just wanted to mention that was, you might want to just read it, look at it. It was a cool event. Secondly, I would encourage you all to consider when your last meeting for student government is going to be this term. I think it's really important for you all to consider when that last meeting is going to be and then do some planning backwards in terms of like business, both old and new, that needs to be resolved before the end of the year. Because we literally don't have a lot of time. So I just want to encourage you all to think about that maybe today so that you all can all maybe think about your subcommittees and transitioning out of your roles. And that's my third point. I'd really like to encourage you all to, last year, I don't know if the council was so great at this. This year, I hope we're a little better in putting together some transition documents or like a report of some sort. I know Emma's been begging people for updates on
have our
goals.
committee, I think it's on the agenda
Got updates.
from Matt. I think
Okay.
Matt has.
I got updates.
That's great. So yay, there's progress there, but seriously, in terms of just transitioning those committees to the next council, I think I really want to encourage you all to think about how you're documenting where things are left at now in terms of projects so that as the new council's coming in, they can take over if they choose to or how they choose to and have some indication of where those things are at. And with that, I will yield my time to Stephen.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. Few updates for you all. We'll ask this at the last meeting, because you all are participating in RAD this year. Would you all be able to get free tickets? The answer is yes, your tickets would be comped with the concert portion. The pre-party portion where you're doing your activity is free, so nothing needed there. In terms of, for the PR committee, the stuff of plushies have arrived. They're was an FYI. Also for PR and the rest of the council, the stoles that you all have voted on have been ordered. So those are good to go. And then the last thing, this is really from Denny, just some voting totals for you all. Online, we had 717 votes. Paper, we had 64 votes for a total of 781, with the goal being 500 votes. We would have passed last year's total. We not only passed it, but shattered it. Now, remember, that is voting totals. That number can fluctuate because of invalidated ballots, folks that didn't follow the correct process when it comes to ranked choice voting. So as of right now, the raw number is 780.
I'm sorry, Steffi, go ahead.
I would like a question. So like the pre-party is free, right?
Yep.
I got the email. And then the concert, you have said that everybody here in TSAC has free tickets, or only for the people who are like gonna be at the pre-party?
No, TSAC would see you. That's my next meeting. See you guys later.
No other staff? Thanks. Wonderful. We'll move on to standing and ad hoc committees. Looking at you, standing in ad hoc committee chairs.
I'll go first.
Or because.
I have entire budget report, so it will take a little longer than update. Is it fine?
We are good on time. Take your
Okay.
time.
So, we have been looking at the numbers from the CMEI, what have been like coming up. And I have been also looking up at our master spreadsheet. So here's the numbers that I have got so far. The SAB was given us like 150, 410, and the roll forward was 17,085. Right now, the remaining balance remains 70,880. And operational budget that was set aside was 65,207.85 cents. Initial counselor stipends were decided to be 82,725, and which have been exhausted are 69,856.64. Student hourly set aside initial was 17,500 and has been exhausted 9,309.07. And remaining remains 8,190.93. Sustainability, first initial allocation was 8,000 and reallocation happened, so it gives us 1,279.55. Used has been 1,551.15, which excludes the KYR Earth Week confirmer training and other expenses that I have not received yet. So that gives us like the remaining of 5,169.30. Student org initial allocation was 15,000, reallocation of 4,830, and return money from student travel 2,752.68 that has been unallocated. That remains an unallocated fund. Internal office budget, initial allocation was 3,750 with reallocation of 1,646.39 and overspending of 1,227.23. Accountability, first allocation was 500 and reallocation of $1,000. There's no spending. Elections, 5,000 initial allocation, used $3,897.92, excluding the projected amount or funds that have not been yet told, and which gives us remaining of $1,102.08. Rainy day fund, first initial allocation of $3,760.25, with reallocation of $3,260.25, with remaining of $500. Delegates remain the same, 1,800 unchanged, 300 times 6. PR fund remains 19,500, first allocation and reallocation of 4,855.17. With the remaining of 167.61, with the projected amount including food for finals and final support. LDR reallocation happened was 5,979.24, with the remaining of 115.77 cents, projecting the stalls and inauguration. And for the club funding and the student travel, we still have to email Tony and Dave for asking for the expenses that have been spent from our operational budget. Any more questions? It's a lot.
Matthew.
So for accountability, it does look like we might be pushing our guidelines procedures more into updates for next year. Yeah, I guess that's about it for my standing committee.
I'll go into sustainability. What do you call it? For a recap from Ouroboros Initiative, so the task force to investigate the Roadrunner runaround. Last week we tabled and got student responses to like a 4-question survey that was just like, do you know about the Roadrunner runaround? What was your experience like if you did have it? And we've gotten 80 responses. We will be tabling again this week as well. So we hope to double those responses and prepare some sort of report to give to next year's TSAC as they advocate on this issue as well, and hopefully continue that task force. In our most recent sustainability committee meeting, we approved participation in a Know Your Rights training with Students for Democratic Society Denver. That's with the $500 allocated under CR FA 2501. Given the resolution did not pass today, we obviously cannot increase that to $650. That event will be this Thursday at 6 p.m. Anyone and everyone from the student body is welcome to be there. If anyone wants to table at it, let me know. I will certainly be there tabling, and I imagine we'll have at least one other person for sustainability there. But just let me know if you'd like to be there. Steffi.
I will give out PR updates. So we don't have any more PR meetings, and we're just working on like little things like that. We one event that is happening that's coming up, it's this Wednesday for Earth Week. We are gonna have a table there. You have flyers right here. So I would just like to ask like people to like put this up in a building for your classes. Yeah, if you can pass it down. And like it says right here, you can paint your own birdhouse, which would be cool. This is all Macy, our delegates initiative that she brought forward to. Only PR members have filled out the when to meet. So if you're able to, please do it right now. It takes 1 minute. This event is happening this Wednesday. So it would be really nice if some people can help table. We are currently working on football finals, getting that done. That when to me should be out already. So if you haven't filled it out, please fill it out. We all have finals, and we would really appreciate if you have some time to help out during that event because it is our signature event. What else? As you've noticed, we started posting the orgs that we have funded. So we posted one this week, we'll post another one next week. Resource Mondays like usual, and
we are still working on the PR guidelines. There are published, they're gonna be worked on and not presented this year.
Awesome. Other standing committees or ad hoc committees? Emma?
Can you just send the Earth Day one in the chat?
Oh, yeah.
I think I saw that one.
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
Should I go now or wait for the discussion that was posted?
It's up to you. It's the only thing on the agenda, so we can also
Alright.
just make yours last if you want to.
Alright.
Uri.
For UTAC, so we worked on the document for technology student fee, and there would be 2 more summer meetings for that. I am not running again for a council next year, so I was thinking if anyone would be interested in attending those meetings as a student perspective and student voice in those meetings.
Steve, and you want to attend those meetings and get the student voice?
Negative. That's all for you. Irby, so typically what happens is if you can give me when those meetings are, we can start talking with the new council members. If there are periods of time in June while this council is still technically, that can work, but, really that sort of transitions into the new council. That's how we've done it before. So if you have a contact and you want to forward them to me, I can talk to them about it.
I do want to clarify for timeline and urgency, our term's due in May 31st.
Sorry, yes.
So it's sooner than we might think, or they think June 30th. It's not.
Sorry, I apologize.
No worries, yeah.
The end of fiscal year.
Yeah, no.
That's our
They
break.
have representatives who serve through June 30th though, for state cap, but not. Okay, any other standing committees or ad hoc committees? Seeing none, we'll move on to advisory committees. Oh, wait, while we're in ad hoc committees, we have like a bunch of ad hoc committees that are sort of inactive now. The lawn committee, do you guys still need to be a thing?
We disbanded the one.
We disbanded you guys officially?
I wasn't in that, but I remember giving it.
What do you
Okay, great. Then I motion to disband the arts fee ad hoc committee, given the arts fee is dead.
Second that.
Great, yeah, is there any opposition to disbanding the ad hoc committee regarding the arts fee? Being none, that's disbanded. Cool. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, on to advisory committees.
I guess I can give one for period equity. Last I understand is they have a social work intern helping them go through all the data from all the surveys they got from last semester. So then they can turn around and make presentations to bring to like SACAB and our area campus to try and get them to actually like fill them out in more restrooms.
I have a question for our SAB reps. Would you guys get the numbers for the SAB proposal that at whatever stage it's in? I don't know if it's got Dr. Simpkins' signature on it yet, or if it's just got SAB's vote, but can we get those numbers sent to us? I haven't actually seen them, but I didn't think to ask until now for some reason.
Yes, we'll follow up with Emily for next steps. I think we were just kind of waiting on her deal. If there's something happening, she lets us know.
Okay.
We'll follow up.
Awesome. Any other advisory committees? Oh, online, Faye. Faculty Staff Senate.
Wow. But all that I really had to say for my update is Faculty Senate did pass the gonna forget exactly what it's called, but it's like the Mutual Defense Compact, I think. Essentially saying like, hey, this is a thing we would like to see move up. I believe it has a couple other bureaucratic steps to go through to be more official than just Faculty Senate voting on it, but that did successfully pass at the yes, technically emergency meeting that they had last week. So
Faye, I know you said to reach out to you if you wanted to know more information, but I didn't. I'm sorry, I do want to know more information though. Mutual defense compact, is that whom is that a compact with? And what is sort of, can you give us like the 2 sentence summary of what that is?
Sure. From my understanding, it's essentially any other university who has also signed on to this mutual defense compact, and it's kind of something that they've been talking about. This actually was a thing that came from the union, like MSFF, to be like, hey, if other universities start getting attacked by the administration for like legally protected actions, then we will step up and defend them, and they will do the same for us. Is the like shorter summary of it.
Okay, awesome. We'll move on to open floor announcements. Is there any open floor? Seeing none, we'll go on to a discussion on training transitions. I added this to the agenda because I wanted to hear an update on it that was sort of comprehensive and have a discussion on it. I hope that's okay. Yeah. Okay, then yeah, I'll hand it off to Matt.
So I stated before, I think we have more of our transitions documents ready. Or no, our training documents, sorry. So one thing I was working on today and I'm going to try and finalize and send out by tomorrow or Wednesday is I created a Microsoft form that makes it easy to fill out, any council member or delegate to fill out different wins that we've had based on what committees, ad hoc committees, all together, so we can build out that transitions piece. And then probably won't touch much on the training piece again until after at least the 4th.
Something that in the chairs meetings with the advisors and just like conversations that I've heard is that last year, only one member of the, how many delegates did we have last year, Stephen? I was one of them, I don't remember. 7?
Let's go with 8.
8. Out of the 18 members then that we had last year, only one gave like a report for the new council. Shout out to Maria, I think. And so I think it'd make a lot of sense to set a deadline and have TSAC officially vote to like have that be like a requirement.
Alright.
Would you have a proposed deadline, or would you want to wait till next week to actually have a motion for that?
Probably next week, because I'm trying to get out at least the draft of this template. So if there's any feedback, I can work with whoever puts information in and put in the right spots. But if there's any modifications that need to be done between now and then.
Be awesome. Would you prepare like a quote unquote, you can name it whatever you want or have it be different than this if you'd like, but would you prepare like a shift change like document of like what we need to do between now and changing over on June 1st? So we can best prepare, especially for the committees that run over the summer, to like get people into them, or to have like a bit of a holdover period where we have people serving on a committee from the previous year. I know we did that last year. Just to make sure that every commitment that we do have is like taken care of. I would also really like to see in our transition, like budget, think people be getting appointed really quickly if this is something that the new council is interested in. I would love to see us to have like fully appointed and like ready to go committees over the summer too, so that we can have budget, like start planning our budget just as soon as July 1st hits. When we get our actual allocated amount told to us. And I think that's part of the transition. So if that's something that's like popular, people are interested in, I would love to, talk about it.
How'd you call that first piece again?
Like a shift change document or whatever. I don't know. Transition it's the same type.
Document.
It's like the same thing. It's like it's a
No, but
transfer of powers.
It was more how you stated it after that, because you were like the steps we need to take for the transition.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, I think on that could be like, you need to have your report prepared by May 11th or whatever, to the next council for every study committee chair or whatever you'd like. And we can have sort of a plan there. Also, I think that the first meeting of every incoming council is like written to our constitution in some way as being like, it can be conducted by the prior chairs or the advisor. I don't remember exactly how that works, but we might be able to like support transition in that way too, of like how we pass the torch essentially. I want us to think heavily about that and like maybe discuss it at one of our next 2 meetings, like in more in depth about like how we can best support the next council.
All right.
Cool. Oh, sorry, Chad, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask Stephen about how, because I can't remember what we did last year. It's a blur in my head, like what you guys do during that first meeting when you are, because you appoint the people technically in that like unofficial official meeting, right?
Ideally, what we would do is we would start training. And then we would go through some very basic training elements the first couple times. And then it would be great theoretically, and I agree with Sky for this, that you all would technically have your first meeting, let's say in early August. You can appoint everyone, then they can meet, then we could have a second meeting in August. And then in between those 2 timeframes, budget can be approved, committees can be reviewed, that sort of thing. Ultimately, once we gather all of the information, I will work with the new council to figure out what their schedules are. So that way we can set those days throughout the course of this.
I'm sharing this, maybe my hand up over here. I may disagree with you a little bit. I know you said you agreed with me when you said that, but I think I actually disagree a little bit. I would, and this is something we did last time, we appointed members in July to the committees last summer. I would like to issue like essentially like a recommendation from this TSAC to the next TSAC that they follow a similar thing where they appoint people during the training, either it's second training or at the end of the first training, and have like an official business meeting to do that. So that during training, people can be trained on their specific role. We can have the budget committee like sit down together and the budget chair sit down and like be trained on how to use like the spreadsheet we use this year and how to use like different things and really like prepare for that during training as opposed to in August. I really don't want to like check in on TSAC next year, just like as a student, just looking and see that we don't have a budget until September again, you know, and I know our budget process takes 4 weeks, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Patrick. And so I would like to see appointments to all the committee chairs in like late June, early July, so that they can start thinking about budget and have something passed by like first week of August or something. That would be my recommendation to the next council, of course, and then it'd be up to them, but oh, I'm sharing this. I'm so sorry.
Sorry. I guess I would just say that if we did, I think that might be beneficial to have more time to be able to learn your role before just like hopping into a meeting. I was gonna say, I think in that case, if we are working collaboratively with the training, with the MAP committee, with the training committee, for this, I think it would be good for like day 1 of training to just more in-depthly go through what the roles are and what those expectations include. And instead of starting off with kind of like after we introduce our names and stuff, like just kind of telling people what the options are for people to do on day 1. So then maybe day 2 we can appoint and then get more time in the integrated training.
Stephen?
And I know Patrick's online, so I don't mean to take this. One of the things we're going to do is once the election results become official, we will notify the candidates. All of the candidates between when that date is and November will be asked to schedule a meeting with me to essentially review some very basic TSAC. I'll be given information. MIU will have sort of a leg up because you've been in it this year. So our meeting probably will not be as long. They'll have a better idea, but for some of the new members, they will also be asked to schedule that time with me so we can go over everything. So they sort of get a very good surface level. Okay, here are committees that exist. Here are things that were brought through from transition. So what I'm trying to do this year with onboarding the new council too, and this is something that Matt, Will, and I haven't got a chance to talk about, is what that onboarding process looks like, being very intentional about doing it.
Oh, Patrick, I'm sorry, I haven't been looking online properly.
All good. No, I completely agree with you, Sky. I think it would be great to have more time. That way, any individual can truly look at what the responsibilities and roles are defined within their standing committee chair. Likewise, you know, especially for budget, it'd be very helpful to have those things set in. That way, at the beginning of the semester, people can get that out of the way and be able to start strong academically. So I completely agree with that. And yeah, it took like almost like a month. So I think that would be that's a good suggestion. I'm behind that.
I also want to say that I hope other people that are exiting the council and are coming back next year would be interested in this as well. But I would be very interested to sit down with whoever takes over the roles that I have this year for a small amount of time and like show them like in person like what work's been happening, walk them through some things. And I think that would make sense to happen probably in sort of June type area. But to do that, we need to know obviously in June who's going to be on what roles. Because I think it would make sense for people that are like graduating to stay here past June to sort of give a training or talk about like their role they did the previous year. And I'd like to make that like a regular practice in like for TSAC year over year, if that's the interesting thing, you know, and it works and makes sense, is to have like the former PR chair be able to directly train the new PR chair for a very short amount of time during that first training or second training. And I think that's something that I certainly would have been interested in, to be able to sit down with Haley and talk about sustainability last year during the summer, or to sit down with Haley and talk about like how to do co-chair stuff and like hear the guidance from them directly. I found it difficult to reach out to the previous sustainability chairs because they both were no longer in TSAC. And so like, I think that's something we should afford the new council if they're interested in appointing people in that like second or third week of June. Because then on the last week of June, we could have a day where any interested former counselors could come in and help like work together and collaboratively on that training. But all of that would need to happen pretty soon because it's April. So I want to make sure that we're being realistic with our expectations too. So anyway, any other hands on the discussion point or anything from Matt? Oh, Patrick online.
I mean, there's some free food. I wouldn't mind stopping by.
Gotta spend those food at $8 as well. On halal guys or something.
Steven doesn't want to talk about it.
You're gonna have to increase the order.
Patrick, yeah.
Yeah. Is that a hand, Steven? Sorry, I just see a face. I'm like, okay, Steven, go ahead.
It is a hand, but I don't know if this is, I missed it in open floor. Sorry, I was taking the minutes.
Do your thing, go ahead.
Is that okay?
That's beautiful.
This is a reminder, everyone. I forgot about this, but Dr. Will Simpkins is attending meeting next week.
Oh.
I'm not sure what he's wanting to talk about, just because we had him about 2 weeks ago, I think. 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it is. Anyway, I was going to ask folks, is there anything you want him to come prepared for this next meeting to talk about? I usually give the run through, but we've done that already. So I don't know how much has changed in the 2-3 weeks, given how quickly or not quickly universities move. So is there any specific topics you all have that you want Simpkins to address?
I want him to come with a demo of Workday Student.
Ooh.
I mean, he's not gonna do it because I don't think he even has that yet, but I would love a demo of Workday Student. That'd be amazing. I know that they're like getting really close to having a demo for the senior leaders. And I know we're not technically senior leaders, but I would love to be a little privy to that demo ahead of time. That'd be pretty.
Other thoughts?
Oh, Eva.
I know that they had hired like a new trainings person a while ago that he was chatting with. If you had any like updates on that, I know it's probably better from them themselves, but we obviously talked to him about Roadrunner Run Around, so if he has any more comments, thoughts, ideas, especially knowing that we have a new trainer person.
Can you have him bring Taylor with him? Or ask to have him bring Taylor with him? I want to hear about emergency housing for students. I know that we have a sort of program where through the care center, it's possible for a student to get a couple nights in the hotel on campus. on an emergency basis, especially in domestic violence situations. I've had some students come to me very interested in starting like an initiative over the summer to look into emergency housing, especially since we're getting dorms on campus. And I would love to hear something about like, what are we doing now and what are we doing in the future on emergency housing? Like short-term, like emergency housing.
It's good. It's really good ideas, folks.
That's a good one.
I think that's a great list.
Okay,
Great.
beautiful. Back to training traditions, anything from anyone? Great, I think we did great. I don't have anything else on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn or,
Call motion to.
oh,
adjourn.
wait, Cynthia, what's?
I just have one. Gregor finally got back to me.
Oh.
He said that they do not have any more events planned for the rest of the semester because student engagement is really low at this time of year throughout the rest of the year. But he said they are offering legal sessions through the summer and that those are pretty popular. And that's it. That's it. I have a date.
Okay, well, last chance for one is this Thursday, 6 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Rowan, made by Emma. Is there any opposition? Is that, did you have, before I call that pass, Patrick, do you want to say something? You're welcome to.
Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna motion to adjourn too, so.
Oh, wonderful. That motion passes. We adjourn. Thank you.
Wow, 9 minutes early.
Yeah,
That was pretty exciting, yeah. That was actually pretty exciting.
That was great.
9 minutes early.
Are we still recording? Sorry, I just, I think I want to say not on the record.